Hi, it's Julie here, and today I would like to talk about how to work with a situation where you have outer planets contacting your inner planets by transit or natally. What are outer planets? So outer planets are Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. And the personal planets we all know, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and to some extent Jupiter and Saturn. They're like the in-betweens. And what do you feel when you have an outer planet in contact with your inner planet? So an outer planet is considered transpersonal or generational. They move slower, they tap into more collective themes or zeitgeist, the spirit of the time. And the personal planet is smaller in energy, it's closer to us, it's a personal thing. Of course, the planets do not only represent us, but I'm speaking as to the personal aspects of the planets. Let's say, the Sun, the Moon, Venus, Mercury, and so on and so forth, Mars. And when you have a contact between a transpersonal planet to a personal planet, it means that the way to operate within this would be to nourish your personal planet and do a work that is related to the transpersonal planet in society. So, for example, I have a Pluto opposition Venus. And Pluto for me is the ninth house, is teaching, higher learning, philosophy, religion, and so on, travel, or bringing stuff from different countries. And Venus is in my third house. It's also a house of daily routines and communications, not daily routines like the sixth, but also communications, the things we do every day. And it's in Taurus. And I have found myself through certain periods in my life that were, triggering plutonic relationships. Venus is relationships. I love nature. It's also related to our voice and expressing our voice in the world. So during one period in my life, I found myself bringing knowledge that did not exist in my country in a searchable way on Facebook to my country. For example, the knowledge about narcissistic abuse, violence, emotional violence, psychic violence. There was no searchable group on Facebook in Israel with knowledge about it. So what I found, it was not a support group, it was not a healing group, but just to bring in the knowledge of what is narcissistic abuse, what is, how to heal from that, tips to recognize that, and so on and so forth, so that people will have the way to conceptualize the language, to talk about it, to identify it. And that was a great act of activism that I did at that period of time where I was healing from unhealthy, narcissistic dynamic relationships. So it was nourishing the Venus, nourishing self-care, sensuality, self-love, all kinds of healing practices, Venusian practices for my Venus, but also teaching others, doing something that teaches others. It was a group on Facebook, so you could see it in the third house, that was contributing to society, contributing to the greater good. That meant that the relationships that I had undergone, that were activated by Venus, by Mercury, this ruler of my seventh and fourth houses, also connected to Pluto, is also positioning Pluto, yet another form of, intellectual work. And doing this, those relationships in me were not just for my ego, but they had a higher purpose that was beyond me, that was societal. So it's like I had to go through this crisis, heal from this crisis, and then spread the knowledge on how to heal from this crisis. Not a lovely place for Venus, but it is a part of what happens. This is a harsh aspect. You could also have a trine, for example. I'm not experienced with easy aspects. Maybe from Neptune I have a trine, I think, to Mercury, and then maybe to Venus or to the Sun, I don't know. So that is an example of how this can operate. I have Uranus in my 10th house, the house of career, and it's in conjuncting my moon. So a lot of mood, like learning how to operate with my moods, and learning about neuroplasticity, the nervous system, higher octave of Mercury, learning about electricity, learning about, right now I'm even learning about humidity and its interaction with electricity. So for example, we need so much water in our body, also, you know, for cellular activity, but also for good flow of electricity. This is why when I work with essential oils, we always tell the clients, after they do the work, or after they do energy work, or after they sniff the oils, drink a lot of water. That facilitates also the work of the nervous system. It facilitates also many processes, and you can't isolate that, but it's also contributing to the nervous system and nervous system regulation. And also, you know, astrology, science, innovation, rebelliousness, they are all in a public place for me. So when I do the Uranus correctly, then my moods are regulated. I feel, even if I would have different moods, it would be something that I can flow within and not something that obstructs my path so much. So doing the outer planets thing for society and sharing the knowledge helps to balance my inner planet. Neptune, I have Neptune opposition in Juno. And Juno means significant figures in our lives. My Neptune is in the 11th house, so public figures. And indeed, a lot of the people that were Juno people in my life were actually in some way in the 11th, or some way there were public figures, or I was a public figure as a result of the connection with them. And there was something Neptunian. So Neptunian is spiritual. Neptunian is dissolution of boundaries and difficulty to discern what happens in the astral dimension, the energy dimension, and the physical dimension. My Neptune is in Capricorn, which is, I guess, an uncomfy place for it to be. And the Pluto in Capricorn generation. So even if I look back to my first Spirit of Matter video, I did a video on Richard Feynman. And the Juno Neptune could create idealism, but it also creates, once you agree to see the person as they are, not just to idealize them. Yeah, idealization is very much Neptunian. You're able to integrate the above and the below, the separateness and the oneness, the individuation and the different compartments of the different facets of a person's personality, and the whole, to see the whole as well. And that allowed me to speak about things that are more controversial. Mastering the lessons of Neptune, being discerning while not demonizing or idealizing the public figure. So that's another thing that helped me with my journey, to help me to get the best of those public figures. For me, learning Feynman's physics helped me a lot with simplifying things that I could later use to understand so many topics, also astrology. For example, right now, when I think about the elements and the way the Western astrology depicts the elements, I'm currently looking for a mathematical model that will tell me how many elements do I need to have, because there is yin yang and that is two, and that has great explanatory force. But then I don't know if the next level of analysis is 4 or 5, like in the elements in Chinese tradition, or the elements in perhaps Western tradition, the moist, dry, hot, cold thingy, and water. The moist, dry, hot, cold, I feel is a good level of analysis. But then they sort of, when they bring out the earth, fire, and so on, and they try to put it as earth is cold and dry. No, not necessarily. Air is hot and moist. No, we have hot air that isn't dry. We have cold air that is moist. And in fact, when it comes to humidity, actually, the colder the air is, humidity, if I'm not mistaken, can actually rise. So we have to update these things. And then I'm thinking about the category. What number would it be? We had 2, 4, but then what number would it be? 6? Would it be 10? Would it be 8 different elements that we have to separate in order to have a good, correct analysis? And that is needed to predict, for example, what will come out of Uranian transit. That's nervous system, that is electricity, that is things that we need more chaotic models and more chaotic mathematics to predict, and that our predictive abilities are limited. So I'm feeling that is something, Uranus is now conjuncting my sun. And that can be a sort of more exposure to these themes. Neptune is now conjuncting my ascendant. So yes, discernment and addiction, of course. Oh, addiction and obsession. Yes, that's why I made this video. I forgot to talk about the most important thing. And Pluto is now squaring my Mercury, and it will continue in its trajectory, and will also be squaring my Venus by 2022, I guess. So I get them all together. I have a very funny chart. I might look into it in a future video. If you want to see my chart, I'm going to share the screen. Okay, let's see. That's the chart. As you can see, all the planets are retrograde. Mercury, I think, is stationing to be direct, and the only thing is Venus is direct. I always laugh at it and say if the Sun and Moon could go retrograde, it would probably be in my chart. The Moon, I don't know if the Moon can go out of bounds, but if it can, then it is out of bounds. So a lot of disruptive energy. Retrograde planets bring a lot of energy inwards. They're extra energy. And they don't go smoothly. They take slow process because this is excess energy to process. And for those of you can see them, is the first mystic rectangle here. So this is another, powerful combination. That means that anything that touches on one of these is going to activate all of these. So this is 4 houses being activated in each transit. My sun is now pampered by Uranus. That means the whole, Sun, Moon, Saturn, Jupiter, they're all activated. And it doesn't show here, but if you look at Juno, here, it trines my Pluto and sextiles my Mercury. And as you can see, Pluto is also sextiling Neptune. So Pluto, Neptune, Mercury, Juno, another mystic rectangle. And my Mercury is being activated, it's being squared by Pluto. So I have the 2 mystic rectangles active in my life. That's a load of energy. A lot of transformation, a lot of processes that are meant to do with societal level, transpersonal level. And remember to nourish the inner planet, do your self-care, and you will see by the placement of the planet what do you need to do. Yeah, for me, Venus is in Taurus. So when Uranus was next to my Venus, I had to do a lot of self-care. I had to return to my body, sensuality even. You see that it's opposition in Saturn in Scorpio, so Saturn 9th house. Tantric sexuality was very active in my life back then. So for now, my Sun in Taurus, also Taurian energy, perhaps nourishing food, nourishing embodiment, being aware of my body, and its opposition in Mars. So Mars, physical activity. This year I turned to belly dance, animal flow perhaps, physical activity that fits me, that can balance the body, and so on and so forth. So for my ascendant, healing whatever addictions or obsessions there are. And when you talk about addictions and obsessions, addiction, there can be many forms of addiction. They can come from Neptunian cycles, from Plutonian cycles. And the way you work with them is you nourish the inner planet, and you do the societal work that you need to do. For example, right now, yeah, if I think about what's being activated, yes, my 9th house is being activated also by perfection. This is a 2nd house perfection, and Mars is ruling my 2nd house. It's in the 9th house, so teaching. In this case, teaching astrology. So a lot of teaching, a lot of spreading knowledge. I also I have ADHD, so I also pop those pills that I need to pop to actually get concentrated and deliver my job and deliver the trajectory that could go triggered from the 7th and 4th when we talk about Mercury, that could go to a relationship, to a person, to obsession about something that is not enough societal, but you direct the trajectory to the outer planet, and then you do a work. You spread the energy around not a person but a society. If I take a look at my natal placement, yes, the ruler of my 7th and 4th house is contacting a transpersonal planet. So to direct this energy at one person is too much. You cannot create a healthy relationship like that. The only chance to create a healthy relationship is to direct the energy to society. And then if something, a door is open that a relationship can flow in a nourishing and safe way, then there can be a relationship. But it is, if you only direct the energy towards a person or an objective or something that's, ego related, and ego is good, is important, our individuation, our ego is good, we need to nourish our ego, but if we direct a transpersonal energy to the ego, it is too much. It's an explosion, it messes up with your sanity, and it does not deliver good results. Always with outer planets, you need to direct the energy to make a contribution to society, and this is also a form of power because you have value to bring to people other than yourself. So that's the way to work with these things. They're triggered by transits, they're triggered by perfection years, annual perfections. You can check the Astrology Podcast for annual perfections. It's a Hellenistic technique. You can check, I think Viktor also did a video about the perfection years in Lada Duncheva's channel. So that's another, Viktor is a great Hellenistic astrologer. He also integrates house systems and integrates approaches to astrology. You can check out his YouTube channel as well. For more information about mystic rectangles and their psychic energy, there is Donny Lim's channel. I would try to not be lazy and actually write those down. Donny Lim, he's also Donny Lim and Ian also did a series about how to see psychic abilities in the astrology chart. So shout out to Donny, who's always sending me private messages whenever he uploads a new video. So thanks, Donny. Try to get him up on his channel maybe. And yeah, and those are good resources that you can have additional information. I think Heather Eland did a series, yes, of mastering the outer planets, mastering Pluto, mastering Uranus, so that can give you another sense of what these planets mean in your chart. And yeah, if you want to book a reading with me, that's possible. I don't currently have means to receive money, but that will be worked out after Mercury retrograde. But we can set an appointment, and I can give you a reading that will help you to master these things, to check whether you have inner planets to outer planets connection by natal or by transit. You can go to astro.com and calculate your chart. That's very easy. If you want to do whole sign, then you have the extended chart selection, and then you can decide on the house placements and so on and so forth. So that's also easy and accessible. Yeah, I think that's what I have to say about this. You can stop sharing the screen. That's what I have to say about this. And let me know if you have inner and outer planets connection? What is your experience with them? Do you have stories of where you made a contribution to society and actually help you deal with a transit or a natal aspect that you have from either inner to outer planets? And I'll see you in my next video. Up next on my series, I'm thinking to do Georg Kreisler, who is a German musician. And up next time, probably will be looking to Leonard Susskind, but I don't have his birth time. And I don't know if I can get to convince him to give me that. I'm trying to work on predictions first, so I can come to the people with predictions of what do I expect to see in their chart and get them interested. So if you have any ideas for cosmologists, physicists, scientists that you would like me to look into their charts, try to do someone we've not done before. For example, Albert Einstein, you can see that on YouTube, like people analyze his chart. We also have his birth time. So try to come up with the people that we've not done before. I mean, I can come up with my own, but I also want to give you the chance to request who would you like me to look into on my Spirit of Matter series. Do like this video, it's good for the algorithm. Do share this video if you find people that could that this could help them. Let me know in the comments below, engage if you like this, if you know have your own experience. You can also contact me on Instagram or Facebook if you want to write like something private and you don't feel to share it in public. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. If you want more videos from me, you want to get notifications, so you have to both subscribe and click the bell and make sure you tick the, like there is an all, like to receive all notifications from they made it so complicated to receive notifications for upcoming videos. I don't know why, but that's the way the algorithm goes. I'll see you in my next episode. Gone to study more astrology. I'm looking for mathematical models. So if you know mathematical models that can be good for the structure of astrology, for the elements, like mathematical series, like yeah, I can think of Taylor. I can think of like those the Fibonacci series, but I don't know if they will fit astrology. So sort of like a new way to categorize elements in the planets. I think the cardinal mutable is actually it's working. I haven't looked deeply into it, but I think it's working. But the you know, the way they did earth and water, and they tried to say no, earth is cold and dry or whatever. It doesn't cling right to me. And I need a framework to, like, before I decide on what do I want to be the categories, I need a framework that is also mathematically compatible with astrology and astrology models. So any new information you have about mathematics as of astrology, especially the structure, that can be very helpful. So contact me on that. Yeah, ciao.